Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining today's training. Today's training is going to be based off automation and the alerts. This training has been done before, so we will be going through it briefly. And if you'd like a more extensive, or if you'd like a video training on this done beforehand, then you're more than welcome to get that recording. So to start off with, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me clearly and that you can see my screen clearly. You can just put into chat if you can see so. Okay, great. So to start off, we're going to be logged into our alerts. So after you've purchased the alerts, you'll then log onto your browser. As seen above, you'll have an IP address with the alerts, and then you'll be guided to your username and password, which you'll receive from our side. Then after you log in with your password, you'll be greeted in with a whole bunch of menus. Starting off with the help option. This help option will then bring out a PDF document that will assist you, or it will at least guide you through the alert sections, maybe wanting to know how to set up specific details, and if there's any other, any nitty-gritty things that you might want to find out, you can read through this and find. Okay, after that, we have our registration details. This is basically just the registration details of the company that you're using it for. We then have on our alert library. So after alerts are created, you can export and import them for any additional information, or if you'd like to use it on a different company. So if the alerts are not database specific, you can then use it on a different company. So you'll see here that there is an export button and that there is a test alert. Next, we have our defaults. So within our defaults, this is going to show us all the connection details we currently use or currently have. Like mine, I'm just going to have a test over here, and I'm just going to remove my test. So we'll create a new one in this training. Yeah, I'll remove it now. Okay, so under the defaults, you can add a new source, which then you'll add in your company's details. You then have your SMTP settings. So this is the options and username that will be sending out any specific emails. Then we also have the SMS option, which will be the SMS user. This can all be changed on your side. After the defaults, we then have alerts. In the alerts itself, this is where you're adding in all your live alerts. So you'll see that you'll go through all the alerts that you've added in or tested out through all different companies. Yeah, this is, you can then edit, soft delete, hard delete, or export it for later use. So in this case, a soft delete will just remove most of the settings in the alert itself, but not necessarily the connection and all the unique details to the database or to this alert. Then you have your hard delete. Your hard delete will then remove the alert completely. Okay, to start off an alert, I'm just going to quickly get a query. So for today's example, we're going to be selecting all any new sales orders that appear on the database. Okay, and we want this to run on a daily basis. So at the end of the day, we'll see all the new sales orders that have appeared or popped up. Okay, so firstly, I'm going to create my new query. I have already created a view to show me all the new sales orders. Now I will just create my view. So I'll create my query. Okay, great. From here, let me just make sure this is working. Okay, great. So now that I have my view, I've created my query to select all the information I need. So this will basically tell me all the sales orders I have. My alert will tell me if any of them is new or old. So let's start off. We'll just remove my old alert since we're going to be starting off scratch. We'll then go to the defaults. We'll then remove the connection details. Great. Now let's start. So when you start your alert, you'll come here into the add new option under data source. Then you'll type in your data source name. So this is the alias name that you'll be using. So we're just going to be calling this new orders. We then have the server details. Please be sure to add in your port number at the end. Then we have the database itself. So the database name. Let's just make sure on that name quickly. The username that's attached to it, and then the password. We can then give it a test. It will say the connection has tested successfully, and we can then save it. It will refresh, and you'll see here at the bottom we have our next connection detail. Our next data source, sorry. From there, we can go to our alerts, and then we can finally add a new alert. So you'll come here to the top right, and you'll click on Add New. The process will be for new orders. Comment will be orders generated daily. We're going to untick the enable report since this is a different option, and we won't be using it for today. We'll save this, and then we'll set it to run hourly from, sorry, it will run daily every day at the end of the day, let's say towards 4 o'clock. From there, we can say save and add new step. Now we have our new orders. So our orders usually go in steps. There's usually 3 steps. So our first step is the data source. So you'll see here data source. Then we have our report, and then we have our email. We will not be using the report section. We'll only be using the data source and email section. The report side is for you to design a report or let's say a PDF document that will be sent to the client. Other than that, the email will automatically just generate a field or table in the email itself and not create a PDF document. But I'll show you that shortly. Okay, so we're going to go to data source. We'll say our name would be step 1, just for example's sake, and our description is the information. So we're going to be gathering the information that we need. The conditions is going to be all types of new records, and you'll click on save. Just be sure that you enable here on the top right, save again. And then you'll see the configuration and all these other settings will pop up. Under here, you'll see configuration. We'll then drag down and go to our default data source that we selected or that we added to the list. We'll click on new orders. We'll then test the connection and verify. You then have your query. This is the same query that's being pulled via SQL. We'll grab this information. We'll put it in here for our query, and we'll say verify query. You'll see that it will give us an example of all the information being pulled. We can then add in different aliases. and we can use those unique keys. So this is basically telling us that our data source is going to be pulling through all new information found here. So this is just an example. It will show you the first 5 transactions, but anything new after that, it will start sending you. So after your configuration is complete, we'll click on Save, and you'll see the alerts page here. So this is what it looks like when you're editing the alert. Now we have our step 1. We can move on to step 2, which is us receiving the email itself. Click on Save. Our configuration will be easy, since from the default side, we can just click on Use Default. We'll then have our to email address. Our subjects, and then the message that will appear. Great. After you've added in all these details for the SMS, or sorry, for the email, you can also enable SMS and have a number and message. With the number and message, you can also add in specific fields. So if there's another field that's from such as the split report, you can select email. So it will split the report by emails, and then every person it would use this mail section, this email section, to then separate the emails and get sent to the clients instead. There's many ways we can use the report. Okay, so after you've added in all your configuration, you can click on Save. You'll then see it has everything done for us, everything is ticked, and we can then save this again. We're going to go back to it quickly. Just going to click on Edit, and we'll go to the top right over here. And this is just to execute it manually. This is just to make sure that it has run successfully. You'll see here, I have an alerts test. It will then show me all the sales orders that is listed there. But now if I have to run the test again, you'll see that I have not received an email as of yet. Reason being is because there has not been any new information. It found those first sales orders, it sent it through because it saw them as new, and now is waiting for any type of new sales orders. So the ones that have been placed there new recently. Okay, great. So that would be on the alert section. After everything is done and you've tested out your alerts, you can just let your client know, and you'll add in their email addresses. Please be advised that we do not assist when it comes to SQL. SQL is done by our own personnel, and this is for our use. You on the BP section or the client section, if you'd like to create your own alert or views, it has to be done on your side. We only supply the alerts itself, and for you to attach it to your database. All customization is done on your side unless charged for. Okay, so if you have any questions or any if you have any questions about the alerts, you can just let me know. You can type it in or unmute. Okay. I don't see many questions coming in. That's perfectly fine. We have done the training quite a few times in the past month. So again, if you'd like the recording of the video, more than welcome just to send an email or request, and then we'll send it to you from there. It does take a few days for it just to get edited. We'll send it from there. Thank you all for joining today's training. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day and travels home safely. Thank you, everybody. Bye.